Namaste. Welcome to another vlog. If this is your first video actually watching of us, we haven't introduced ourselves in a while. My name is Cody, this is my wife Sarah. We've been married for 9 years. Originally from Oklahoma, been living in New York City for the last 7 months. And just a forewarning, today's vlog is gonna be one of the most hipstery vlogs ever. Because today we're talking about the revenge of analog. But before we get into that, we're gonna go over here to our local indie movie theater and watch I, Tonya. I, Tonya was incredible.
Oh my gosh.
So good. The story is so tragic, but the movie itself was done
oh my gosh.
so well.
Phenomenal. Margot Robbie.
She's so versatile and so talented as an actress, just like the role she plays.
Spot on every single time.
So good. But now we're going to continue on this revenge of analog that I mentioned earlier. We're going to stop by the film developing store to pick up the roll of film we dropped off a couple days ago from Sarah's film camera. Yeah, it would fit the narrative of Revenge of Analog a little bit more if we actually got prints of the photos instead of getting a CD, a compact disc, if you will.
Yes.
Have to go back to the apartment to put the digital disc into a digital computer to look at the analog prints. But that's what we're doing, and then we'll talk about what do we mean by the Revenge of Analog. And the funny thing about getting a CD with the pictures on it is computers nowadays don't even have CD drives. But luckily I have this external super drive so we can read this CD, but they charge $2 more to have it like digitally sent to you instead of burning it to a disc, which seems like counterintuitive since they're burning a disc and they charge $2 more to email them to you.
Right.
But
I refuse.
Yeah. So basically we're just checking on the second roll of film that we put through this camera. Based on the thumbnails on this little sheet, looks like they're going to turn out pretty well. While I'm getting the pictures off of the disc, I'm going to have Sarah tell you about Revenge of Analog and why we're even talking about this. Because she's reading this book, The Revenge of Analog, and she's been very excited to tell me all the things that she's been reading in it, because she is a lover of the physical.
That's what she said?
The thing that I love the most about it is that David Sachs is the author. Every chapter he tackles like a specific product, so vinyl or paper or board games, things like that. And this paragraph I think sums it up really well. He says, "The choice we face isn't between digital and analog. That simplistic duality is actually the language that digital has conditioned us to. A false binary choice between 1 and 0, black and white, Samsung and Apple. The real world isn't black or white. It's not even gray. Reality is multicolored, infinitely textured, and emotionally layered. It smells funky and tastes weird. And it revels in human imperfection. The best ideas emerge from that complexity, which remains beyond the capability of digital technology to fully appreciate. The real world matters now more than ever." Freaking good paragraph. So anyway.
Sarah loves a good paragraph.
I do. I love a good paragraph. So I'm obsessed with analog things, and I always have been. I think, which you're sort of the opposite.
I mean,
at least you used to be very opposite, and so we would always clash.
I try to do everything digital. No matter, like, anything I could possibly make digital, I would do.
Remember, yes, because I got obsessed like 4 years ago with getting a record player. Now I became obsessed with it. Like, I needed it right now. And he just tried so hard to convince me not to get it.
It's so impractical.
It's so impractical.
I mean, you could just AirPlay it to the speakers and you never have to get up and flip the record over after 4 songs.
I absolutely understand the convenience of digital things, but I got a record player anyways. And you like it, don't you?
Just on some days that I want to just relax and it's like, want to feel cozier. I don't know, there is something just about like pulling like a record out and like putting it on there and like having to get up after a few songs and like turn it over because you're like paying more attention to the music. But I can't get to the CD drive to mount to this computer, so we're gonna move over to my office. Okay, try it over here.
Like, the ironic thing about analog versus digital is that digital is actually helping save analog. So, like, for example, we watched the documentary California Typewriter, and they are a typewriter company, and that's literally all they do is refurbish and sell typewriters. But they were struggling for a bit, and so somebody helped them set up social media and a website. Now they're like booming, you know? And it's just ironic that the digital world is saving analog products, even though it's what started to kill them. It's fascinating.
Okay, got the disk drive to mount on my computer and transferring the film photos over to the hard drive right now.
Oh, look how pretty.
Let's make this a little more hipster and head over to Williamsburg. Sarah and I have actually had this dichotomy of print versus digital since we've been together.
Since the beginning of time.
We actually at one time thought about getting tattoos. One for me that would be RGB, and then one for her that would be CMYK, because CMYK is the color process for print, and RGB is the color process for digital. And so we thought that would be a good couple tattoo that because they'd be the same like kind of color wheel but different because print and digital.
Because different.
The main reason we came over to Willie B's is to go to an Everlane sale. It's a pay what you want sale where everything paid over the asking price goes to Housing Works. But while we're over here, we'll also go to a record shop. We're walking up to the place where the sale is, and it looks like there is a line around the block, unfortunately. It is straight chaos in here right now. Madhouse of women trying to get their sales.
Gosh.
I can't actually turn the camera around because there are girls stripping down to their bras to try stuff on. So I'm over here in the corner, hiding out. But great news though. Sarah found the puffer jacket that she's been wanting.
I've been eyeing this puffer jacket since it came out, and I have been wanting it so bad.
Unfortunately, they don't have a black one, but they do have a navy blue one that's the second best and on sale.
On sale.
All right, next stop is to go to the record store, and then we'll talk about records a little bit.
Yeah. Earlier we were talking about how digital is actually helping to save analog, and the most, I think, prominent example of that is vinyl. So like in this book he says, digitization is the peak of convenience, but vinyl is the peak of the experience. And they go in to talk about that and like what happened in the music industry with the digitization of everything. Napster laid that truth bare in 1999, and the music industry never recovered. Once music was divorced from any physical object, its supply so vastly exceeded demand that people simply refused to pay for it. And so like, it sort of devalued the beauty of music because it was no longer like revered, because everybody could have it in their iTunes collection, and that is precisely why vinyl came back, which is just fascinating.
So yes, vinyl is coming back for the hipsters, but it's also just coming back for the young people in general who crave holding something that physically represents what we've had digitally for so long.
Yeah, and I would argue and say it's not coming back because of or for the hipsters. It's coming back because our generation, while there is like a certain subsect of of people who shop vinyl and typewriters and things like that who you would probably deem a hipster, it is not because it's the cool thing to do or the
anti-establishment.
Yeah, it's not because of that. It's because we're just searching for something physical and tangible. You know, it just happens to be a certain subsect of people who are doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this dog.
Who cares about any of that? That dog is the
Literally
cutest thing I've ever seen.
Cutest dog I've ever seen.
But that record store is really close to this Bushwick Inlet Park that we've never been to. You get a good view of Manhattan, and it's a cool park, so we're just gonna come over here and explore it. Never even heard of it. It's very pretty over here.
Yes.
Great
It's a
view.
Great view.
But the wind coming off of the water is very cold.
But I just bought a puffer, so I'm fine.
My little puffer penguin.
Aww. Except it's puffin. But that's fine.
The next bit of analog that we're going to visit is Physical Bookstore.
Obviously.
But speaking of analog, I need to get some analog food in my body. So we're gonna head home, get some food, and then we'll continue this conversation. It's the weekend rush to Williamsburg. Okay, we made it back home.
Did it? I'm tired.
I'm so tired.
I think the other thing about physical books that is an interesting fact is that physical book sales are actually beating ebook sales, I think for the last like 5 years. How much of that is because of the experience of an ebook versus a physical book, which for me is so whatever. I'm an analog person, I can't help it.
I like actually reading books more on an ebook because the experience of holding a book and holding an e-reader are the same for me, and the conveniences I get of an e-reader outweigh the physical book for me because I can read it in the dark with not having to have a bright light on, and I can highlight whatever I want and store my highlights into Evernote or whatever I want to with a few clicks.
I think the thing is that with humanity, in every aspect of everything we've ever done, we start out here, and then, it's too much, and so we swing way over to the other side, and then eventually we land somewhere in the middle. So I think if you just figure out, just wherever your somewhere in the middle is, because analog isn't all good or all bad, and digital isn't all good or all bad. I think you just need to combine the two to what works best for you. There are going to be so many people who don't type on a typewriter. And that is understandable because a typewriter is very inconvenient. But maybe, carrying around a moleskin notebook is great to jot down your quick ideas or whatever.
So hopefully you enjoyed joining us on this random, weird kind of day of analog finds. If you like to hit the like button, subscribe if you're not. Make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this channel. Sarah makes videos every Tuesday and Thursday on her channel about physical books, just books in general. Also, you can check out our Instagrams. I'm Cody Jensen on Instagram. Sarah is Sarah_Jensen on Instagram. You can check out our photography and film and analog things over there. All right, thank you guys for watching. Bye.
Bye.